I didn't know that girls like you more when you got a girlfriend.
Especially somebody in that
Like, girls really was like
stratosphere.
trying to get at me, and I'm like, where's this shit coming from? Like,
Somebody you knew for your whole life, damn near.
nah, it wasn't like that. It was just like girls, like, and some,
Different
and
level
like
of
the
attention.
older I've gotten, women told me that women like to see men take care of women, right? So if you take care of your mother, the way you take care of your daughters, all of that, women actually pay attention to these things. Like
That's a fact.
the way you actually treat these people. Girls watch you or women watch you and they see this. I could be wrong, but this is what I've been told. Right? During that period of time, I didn't know that.
Okay, so the clip I just showed was of Jermaine Dupri, hip hop, um, one of the hip hop greats, producer, um, the producer of the Atlanta Sound, whatever accolades, you know who Jermaine Dupri is. That name is synonymous with Atlanta hip hop music scene, right? And I think that most of us know his history, which is that he, at one point, I think it was either, I think it was the early 2000s, he dated Janet Jackson. And everybody was surprised. Like, this guy? How did this guy land Janet Jackson? Janet the fuck Jackson, okay? So I think we also have at some point heard Jermaine speak on his relationship with Janet Jackson and what caused them to no longer be together. And it had to do with his cheating. And so he is speaking to the fellows over there on Joe Button, and he's talking about once again his relationship with Janet, because most of us are very interested. We're trying to understand, how did this guy get Janet, right? Let's not play games here. He's not attractive. He has money, and he was at, I would think, the height of his popularity and fame during the time of their relationship. Um, and he produced one of my favorite Janet Jackson's uh albums, which is Demita Joe. That's my favorite of her work. But again, when we sit down and listen to a Jermaine Dupri interview, we really want, we it's okay that we can, he can talk about a lot of people and a lot of experiences, but the experience that we really want to hear about is his relationship with Janet Jackson, because how did he pull that off, right? Um, and so it's interesting when he talked, I shared this small snippet or this small clip because I think it's interesting that even in his inflection, he is like, I couldn't believe how much um, women were after me when I was with her, right? And he succumbed to the temptation, because I don't think he's making the connection that the reason why women were fawning all over him was because of his relationship with Janet Jackson. Not that he treated her well, not that he, you know, cared about her. No, no, no. It was Janet who brought the girls to his yard. It was Janet. And he's not getting that. The other young man, or the other guy, he hinted at it, but Jermaine glossed over it. And he tried to make it appear as if it was because he treated her so well that women were attracted to that. That does happen. Women do see men in relationships treating their wives well, and they get envious or jealous of those things and try to break it up. That does happen. hmm I don't think this was that case, because if we really sit down with Jermaine and we ask him to really think about how the comparison of how much more access he got two women because of Janet and compare it to what he got after Janet or before Janet, Janet is the reasoning. That was the most attention that he has ever received from women was when he was in relationship with Janet Jackson and he fumbled it because he was so giddy, because he was really getting more and more and more attention, the most attention he's ever gotten from women. He couldn't do it on his own. Jermaine is a legend in his own right, but looking the way he looks, even with money, different access, and he's never had, I'm sure that he has never had access to that amount of women again. He didn't recognize that the star of the relationship, the reason why he was in such high demand was because of his access to her. The same goes for, from what I observed, the same goes for Offset. Offset, from what Cardi B said, I think she said this last year or early this year, she said, this man cheated on me every month for 7 years. And Offset thought it is because that because of him. Remember he said he was Timothy Jones. It was about him. No, it was Cardi. Cardi bought the girls to his yard. Is Offset going to have access to women? Yes, because he has the cachet that he has. But his cachet increased with Cardi. And he did not have the discipline or the awareness to realize that it was always Cardi. These women only wanted to be with him because of Cardi B. And he didn't respect his marriage. He was like, "Ooh, I got such a glow up." He didn't realize the glow up was his wife. Jermaine didn't realize, I'm not sure exactly why he didn't realize that the glow up was Janet Jackson. She was the prize. This woman was not on his level at all, and she dared to give this man who is facially challenged a chance, and he blew it because he did not have access to the level of women before that he was able to have access to. Think about Halle Berry and her relationship with what's the guy's name? Gosh, what does that man say? I forgot about him that quick because I just saw him on Instagram. Eric Benet. I just saw him on Instagram with his wife. He is now married to um the singer Prince, one of his ex-wives, right? I believe that's how she says her name, not really sure. Um and when I looked at the Instagram post, I was like, "Oh, they're married? Wow." And then my response to that is, "Oh, so he's not sex addicted anymore?" Remember when he was with Halle Bailey? Not Halle Bailey. Remember when he was with Halle Berry? And at the height of her success, when she won the Oscar, he was right there by her side, all the things. And then within like that week or two, it broke that he had been cheating on her the entire time, right? Well, I don't know if it's entire time, but a lot. And then it was said that he was in rehab for sex addiction. She accepted him. She accepted his daughter. She, I think, even adopted his daughter. Um, but he cheated on her. And Eric Benet is a R&B singer, maybe a jazz singer. I I can't recall any song that he sang before or after Hallie. I can't. I don't remember. He's not an unattractive man, but his level of celebrity increased when he got with Hallie. And I'm sure that because he's relatively attractive, but I don't think he made as much money, couldn't have, at that time as his wife, Hallie. Um, but imagine all the women wanting to get next to Halle Berry and did so by sleeping with that guy. She was the clout. So much so that he said he had a addiction. Now, when he's with his current wife, we haven't heard hide nor hair about this man and his proclivities, right? Because as beautiful as Mai is, she's not bringing any girls, that many girls, to Eric Benet's yard like that. Not at the same rate. He will get women on his own. He obviously values my more, the relationship more. Maybe he's learned his lesson. He fumbled Halle Berry, all the things, who knows? But I'm saying what I'm observing is that he doesn't have the same access, right? So that's what I'm thinking in regards to what Jermaine is saying. But I wanted to kind of circle back to Offset because I think I said that he doesn't realize that Cardi is the reason why he has access to all those women. I think towards the end he did realize that because sometimes the man gets resentful. He gets resentful that the only reason why people want to deal with him is because of his relationship with the person he's with. And that's why he says, I'm him, I'm him. He wasn't him in his relationship. It was out of order for him. He wasn't able to deal with that. I would think, I think the same thing is with Halle Bailey. DDG wanted access to the rooms that only Halle Bailey would get him into. His relationship with her elevated him. But at the same time, he resented her for it. Resented her for it because he did not have the talent, the charisma, uh, the personality, the charm, whatever. He didn't have it. He doesn't have it enough to sustain himself, first of all, to elevate himself, but second of all, to maintain that level. See how different his content is? See how different the tides have turned now? When at the height of Hallie's career, The Little Mermaid, this man's writing diss tracks about this woman because he is upset that he's not able to get access to those same places that only she can get him access to. He's always saying, talking about her, making her feel some type of way. And so, what? I mean, just talking publicly about her to get the clout. So much so that had a baby with her, right? But what is it now? Now that she has come forward and has sued him for, custody and all, and told about the domestic violence, everything like that, people look at him differently. He's back down to the level that he's at. He was always supposed to be at. The level that he created for himself. That's where he was supposed to be. And think I think that he will never reach that height that he had with Hallie again because any woman on Hallie's level, if she is a smart woman, she's not going to entertain him. She's going to look at the history. He has a history of mistreatment of women, clout chasing off of women. And any smart woman, any woman that he really wants, never going to happen. He is stuck at the level that he created himself for himself. He's with India Love. That's his speed. That's his speed. He was always supposed to be at that level. And the only reason I was like, I don't want to downplay India, but she's a different type of personality. That's all I can say. That's it. I'm not going to say too much into it because I would like to do a video about her, but yes, her. But also, I was thinking as I was speaking about that, I was thinking about another example. I can't come up with it. Oh, dang. I just lost it. Anyway, so going back to my original point. Yes, there is something about that's there's something that I feel Jermaine Dupri is missing. He's missing that the reason why he had access to all those women in the first place, had nothing to do with him. It had everything to do with Janet. And because he had no real, I don't even think it's like, I don't even think it's like sexual discipline. I think it has to do, I don't think it's sexual discipline. It's just that it was like, because if you see him, he was kind of like giddy. So he did not have the wherewithal to say, wow, these the same women who I would try to kick it with before, and they're paying me dust. What has changed? Oh, it's her. So let me stay with her and treat her well. Don't give in to the temptation. He gave into the temptation because he's like a kid at a candy store. He just everybody like me. It's all Team Jermaine right now, and he's never reached that same height. And he hasn't gotten a woman of Janet Jackson's status ever again. Oh, that's who I was thinking. Nick Cannon, same difference. That's why he's always mentioning Mariah. He's always talking about Mariah and his relationship with Mariah and how he was able to know his role until he didn't. He was insecure. The same things that he loved about Mariah, he resented. And then he went off and had 11 kids, but he continues to only speak about Mariah. That was the significant one. That's the one he didn't do well. He didn't do well. And she pays him what? Dust. She don't I very rarely hear Janet Jackson speak about Jermaine Dupri. I very rarely hear Mariah Carey speak about Nick Cannon. Halle Berry ain't speaking about any of her exes for real like that. It was somebody else. DDG. Halle doesn't speak about him, but they're going through what they're going through like that. But very rarely do you hear these women speak about the men that treated them dirty that they should never have gotten with in the first place. They don't talk. But those men still clout chasing. Oh, Offset. Cardi B doesn't necessarily talk about him, but has to only when he is trying something with her. And that's a part of her brand is to talk about her life to her fans on social media. But they don't talk about them. Mm-mm. Anyway, thanks for letting me ramble. I'll see you in my next video.